It's interesting to see this kind of duplicity. One side wants a peace deal with North Korea, but doesn't want one with Iran. The other side is completely the opposite.
That's just because they're just trying to undo each other.
Why can't we just have a peaceful, non-interventionist American foreign policy, which every president keeps promising us? George W. Bush, Barack Obama,
It's popular.
Trump.
No.
It's popular.
It's the military-industrial complex.
Yeah. Right.
They're all beholden. They're all beholden.
Why do they keep campaigning on it? We're going to end these forever wars.
Because they know that is what's popular.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Most people don't want to be in war.
George W. Bush promised to be a non-interventionist president. So did Barack Obama. So did Donald Trump. Donald Trump, there's an argument to make here because he's quasi-globalist, quasi-nationalist, but
he's the only one that hasn't started a war out of all those
That's
people.
very true. And he broke the long time cycle for decades now of starting a new war, which does have to be kind of looked at, even though he kind of came close to it with Iran.
You're the perfect example of, I think, why Trump supporters needed to do better outreach to the left, because there's a lot you've praised Trump for.
You know what? I see him. No, because I don't just hate him because I hate him. All right. Like, I don't have that. Look, I'm not a Republican. I don't generally support their policies. I don't support their platform. I'm about policy, right?
Yep.
So their policies do not speak to me. But I don't just slam him just because to slam him. But he also did the same thing with the Obama stuff. He went and tried to just undo everything Obama did, just to stick it to him. So what you're dealing with is a massive amount of man-baby egos.
Yeah, and now Biden's going to do the same thing. But I was going to wonder. I really wanted to ask you really quickly.
No. Joe Biden is going to be put in his wheelchair, wheeled into the sunroom with a blanket on his lap,
Whatever.
and he's going to fall
Kamala,
asleep.
the corporatist, globalist, whatever.
Yeah.
He's the front man. He's the suit man.
Yep.
But I was going to ask you, what qualities of Donald Trump did you like?
I like that he's anti-establishment. I like that he's not part of the machine. Now, he is part of his whole own machine. He is absolutely part of what I would consider to be the oligarchic class. He is definitely part of that level of corporate establishment. He is definitely of the haves and not the have-nots. His interests are definitely not the same as the interests of the majority of people that I would say I would represent as a constituency. So he is not somebody that I would support. But the things that most people dislike about him generally don't bother me. Yeah. I don't care about his mean tweets. I don't care about his ridiculous nonsense. But what that does do is it distracts people for the same reason we're talking about the wrestling thing. And there are people that don't see it as hyperbolic. And that concerns me.
Yeah. And they weren't talking about real issues. They were talking about ice cream, toilet paper, Russiagate.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, distracting us from the real actual issues, the banksters, the corporatism. None of that was discussed at all. You could have legitimately had some real criticism against Donald Trump, but you never had that at all.
No, my issues with him are policy-based. And when he's done things that I haven't found objectionable, I've always been pretty vocal about. Like, I've never pretended that, I don't hate him. And that has actually gotten me a lot of crap. That's okay, right? Crap.
I know.
That has gotten me a lot from the left that you're speaking of and the establishment, and specifically in our district. Because I don't hate him enough.
You know what I've noticed? A lot of the leftists, like the non-woke ones, refer to the woke left as the neolibs.
Yeah.
Neoliberals.
Yeah.
And then on the right, they just say the left or leftists.
And I'd like for people to understand there is a big difference. I feel like, as somebody who's the actual left, we are fighting a war on two fronts. Right? Like, we're fighting, and we actually spend more time fighting our own people. We don't have to fight Republicans. Yeah. We can't get past our own selves. And so the people that are the actual, and we're constantly being viewed by people like probably a lot of your audience as the same. We're not the same, right? Like, it's very nuanced.
To an extent, I would say yes. But I think a lot of Trump supporters really like the anti-woke, anti-establishment left, people like Jimmy Dore, for instance, or people like you, actually. So if you come out and say, before I start this conversation, I want to say two things, and I'm not saying this literally, I'm just saying this figuratively.
Yeah.
I'm on the left, but I think Hillary Clinton is completely despicable.
They're
going to be like, okay, let's have a conversation. Like, we can start from there, right?
Yeah,
we agree on the establishment being awful.
Yeah, well, because what we're talking about now is you're talking about literal politics. And that's a circus to me. Okay, I'm concerned about policy.
This is the kind of conversation I think is the biggest threat to the establishment.
Yeah,
that
they don't want us all being friends.
Right.
Oh, I know.
It's really funny when I see Jimmy Dore, who's very left on a lot of issues. He was tweeting about Medicare for all and things like that, and the criticisms he has of the Democrats, same as me, same as probably everybody in this room.
Yeah.
and that's bad for the machine. I think Trump ran as a Republican because it was his path to entry, same as many progressives run as Democrats as their path to entry. But Trump does not function the same way the establishment machine did. It was Democrats and Republicans. They were the same thing. Trump got in and he put a boot to the behind of many of these people. And so you saw the never Trumpers flee to the Democratic Party. All of a sudden now we have these
Which isn't a stretch, though. And that's the thing that we need to be very clear on, because the Democratic Party is basically very moderate.
They're the same thing.
Yeah, they are.
Like they're
corporate.
I think they pretend to have issues they care about. They'll tell you, oh, you're a Republican, I'm pro-life just like you. And then they'll sell you out at a moment's notice. The Democrats will tell you they're for your policy and then ignore you as soon as they get elected. Yeah. So Trump gets in, and it's amazing to see the Lincoln Project, right? These Republicans, all of a sudden supporting Democrat candidates. And I'm like, you're not Republicans, you're not conservatives. You're just, I call them the keys to the castle Democrats, or keys to the castle politicians. Give me the keys, I'll say whatever you want to say, and then I'm going to go inside, lock the door, and just take the money and do whatever I want. And that's where we're at for the most part.
Corporatists. That's what they all are. That's what they all have in common. That's the common denominator. They all work for the same employer. If you were to follow the money trail from all of these people, and while Trump has not been a traditional Republican, he has towed that line too. He has definitely fallen in line with what I refer to as what I call the deep state. You think he has? I think that he has not pulled us out of the wars that he has said he was going to pull us out of. Why?
Well, hold on. You know that,
and I mean continuously. Like, he first started with we're going to get out of Syria. And then that never happened.
But you know that was because he was lied to. There was this is a story that came out from Defense One. A federal official bragged about lying to Trump and the American people about how many troops we had in Syria in order to inflate the number so Trump couldn't pull them out.
Okay, so let me then just say this. The buck stops with him. So whatever the reason is that led him to where he is, that's where we are, right? So he's had 3 years.
He did hire Bolton. He hired John Bolton. I rag on that all the time.
But not like Pompeo's much, like Gina Haspel. I mean, these are not.
Well, he's trying
people.
to fire her.
How many people did he kill?
That's true.
In his escalated drone war, how many people did?
We don't know because they stopped the reporting.
Okay, so no new wars, but he killed countless people with drones.
Well, the Trump administration stopped the accountability and the counting of the drone strikes.
Oh, well, that's even worse.
But
he did get us in a new war. It was a drone war.
No.
He just escalated.
Well, he escalated the drone war.
Yes, but my understanding is that was under Bolton.
That was under Trump.
No. That was so when he hired Bolton. Bolton was like, "We're going to blow everything up."
Yeah, but again, buck stops where?
It's true. No, Trump hired a bunch of dumb people, and he's come to regret it. Now Bolton's throwing him under the bus. Yeah, I hear it from a lot of Trump supporters who have said, "Trump." Who was it who said this? Trump should have done the one thing he's famous for: fire people. He didn't do it.
Well, and so that to me was him basically paying homage to the military-industrial complex and the establishment, and that is look. He's had 3 years, But I will tell you this. I had a very big moment where I actually turned to my television while he was speaking by myself, and I said, "Thank you, sir, for your good candor," because he actually made a comment as to we were in Syria for the oil.
Yes.
And I remember he said it, and like mid-sentence, I turned around and I'm like, "Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for that."
But I kind of feel like, Trump tried to remove all of our troops out of Syria. And Democrats and Republicans revolted. He tried to remove all of our troops from Afghanistan, and Democrats and Republicans blocked him.
Yes.
So I kind of felt like when he said 2 things. He's coming out of the White House. There's a helicopter, noise. And they're like, how's it going? And he goes, "We got a really great deal. We're going to sell Saudi Arabia tons of weapons, make billions of dollars."
He had pictures.
Yes.
Remember that? He had pictures of the airplanes.
All of the anti-war progressives' jaws dropped. And they're like, he just said it.
I was so pleased.
Admitted. I know. I was laughing. I was clapping for it.
I was so pleased. Well, I mean, I thought the pictures was the AV aids was a little over the top, but it was sort of like how a little kid would draw, demonstrate. This is what we're doing.
I feel like he's doing it on purpose because. So when he said that we're keeping 200 troops in Syria, they're guarding the oil. It's great.
I was so pleased.
But they blocked him and they lied to him. I wonder if Trump was like, all right, I'm going to tell everybody exactly why we had to keep these troops in here because he wants to get them out.
See, I think that any president that actually really does go to do that, I don't think makes it.
Yeah.
And that's just, see, I think that anybody that were to really threaten the existence of our military industrial complex wouldn't live. That's just me. I mean, and the only president that I know of that has done that got dead.
The problem is they live at the White House, right in the belly of the beast. They'd have to go to Russia under the protection of some foreign country if they were going to defy the CIA.
But then someone would step in and say, he fled, he's illegitimate, we're taking control.
It's still the only way to survive if you're going to go against the CIA.
I think Trump was really naive when he first got elected. He assumed that he was in charge and he was going to be able to play ball with these establishment crony individuals, and they put so many knives in that man's back.
Yeah.
He didn't,
But that's the nature of the game. That's that job.
Yeah.
He wasn't expecting to win. I mean, I don't think he really wanted that job. I think he was doing it because they basically threatened him that you can't do it. And he's like, I'm going to show you.
Yeah, but
I would say one of the most important things that Trump did when he did first go into office is he stopped arming the rebels inside of Syria, whether it was ISIS, al-Nusra, al-Qaeda. We do have to give him credit for that because Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, they were running the same protocol that they ran in Libya. Overturn, give all the jihadis as much money, as much weapons as we can. Let's overthrow the government. Donald Trump stopped that. He did have a limited recent withdrawal of Afghanistan and Somalia, but again, very limited. But we have to look at this at the greater context of American geopolitics with Saudi Arabia, especially with the Saudi-U.S. coalition conducting their warfare on Yemen right now, which is literally creating the worst humanitarian crisis in the world.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., so come back to check us out when we go live. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and we are also available on all podcast platforms for free if you want to listen to us there. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you all next time.